Okay. So now you're locked up.
Yep.
And, the feds don't just want you, they want everybody.
Yep.
So they take you into the interrogation room and they're trying to get as much information as they can out of you. What happens at that point?
So what happened was, like I said, I turned myself in Miami, and I ended up having to get transported back to Virginia. So I get back to Virginia, and you know, uh, I'm sitting there, and I get my name called. Lawyer visit. So I go and I go out, and when I get to this little room, it's um it's my lawyer first. And he tell me he about to take me into this next room, and it's the FBI, ATF, and they want to sit and talk to me. So I'm saying like, well, hold on, what do you want to talk to me for? I'm like, I ain't even tell you that I'm guilty yet. So he like, no, just listen. He said, I'm gonna tell you this. Just listen to what they got to say, and then we're gonna determine whether we're gonna go to trial or what we're gonna do. So I said, all right, cool. So I walk in the room, and as soon as I walk in the room is the FBI, ATF, and it's the homicide detective. And first one I spoke was a homicide detective, and he say, first I want to tell you that I know you ain't had nothing to do with your little cousin getting killed. So as soon as he said that right there, I broke down in tears because I was like, because with my neighborhood, a lot of people was blaming me, saying that I had something to do with it. So for him to tell me that I didn't, it was like, whoa, now I can really pretty much mourn knowing that, all right, cool. So then, he started asking me about, do I know these guys who actually had something to do with it or whatever, whatever. But honest truth, I didn't know nothing. Because even when they caught me on the wire with me telling them, I don't know who did it. Because normally I find out everything that happens in Virginia. But I didn't know. So, so that cut short with that because I couldn't help him with anything on that. So the FBI comes and they say, listen, but they say, we're going to give it to you straight. They said, the guy Pike, he told on everything that he gave you. Like we got because the one thing people don't know in the feds, hearsay is admissible. So whatever a person just says, he can say he gave you a million keys, and that's on record. That's a million keys. That's you get in charged with a million keys because it's admissible. It's different from the state. The state hearsay ain't admissible. You got to go through all kind of stuff with it. With the feds, it's totally different. So they say, we got enough right now with just him and 46 other people who's ready to testify against you in Virginia. Because we had people just hopping up on the case. You got some guys who was in prison who was trying to get their sentence reduced who said that I dealt with them in '01 and guys them who said they dealt with me then who definitely didn't. And then you got guys them who were close to me who didn't even who was signing up to say I don't want to go down, so I'm willing to testify from the street. Guys them who was real close that I also tell about that in my book. Um, so they say, but with the guy Pipe who's actually telling on you, he won't tell us on the guy Johnny. So they say, so we need you to cooperate on Johnny, and we'll make sure that your sentence go light. They said, but if not, you can get life. So me, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, but I ain't never been in trouble before. I'm like, most I probably get is 10 years. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know nothing. Nah, 'cause I'm not gonna tell my friends. So he said, but we also want you to know that and put out paperwork and stuff, implicate my mother, my wife, my sister, and my aunt. And said, and if you don't help us out, we're gonna have a indictment to go pick them up tomorrow. So I'm like,
Okay, and you're how old at the time?
I'm 33, I think, 33, 34.
Okay, so at 34 years old, you're being told that you're facing life and they're going to lock up your mother, your wife, your sister,
And my aunt.
all that,
Yeah. And this is documented.
and your aunt.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you feel at that point?
Um, I mean, I was like, down the truth, like I grew up on a certain code that you're supposed to keep your mouth closed, But when you start mentioning the women in my life, I'm like, wow. But then I'm like, okay, my mother is a hustler, so she she understands that it's consequences. So if you sell drugs, and you go to prison, it is what it is. My aunt also, which is married to my uncle who's Panamanian, she was in the game too. But when it comes to my wife and my sister who don't know anything about prison, drugs, or anything, I'm sitting there like, yo, they can't go to jail. So I'm like, I gotta try to figure this thing out.
Okay. And they offer you something called immunity papers.
Yes. So they tell me that we can give them immunity. All I need to do is sign, and we can go ahead and give them immunity for me um, to cooperate against the guy Johnny, which is the other Mexican. And so I tell them, I say, um, I can't answer them right now. I said I need time to think about this. So um, to make a long story short on that, I end up going back to my cell because they told me just to think that they ain't gonna pick nobody up yet, but just think, and they're gonna come back tomorrow. They don't trying to give me no week to think any of that. So I'm like, all right. So I go back and I start calling. I'm calling everybody. I'm like, yo, listen, this right here, what's going on? Da 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 da. One of the first person I called my mother. I'm telling her, I'm like, Mom, this what's going on. They told me I'm coming to pick you up, and she like, what I do? I'm like, I'm like, this what they said you did, because what my mother did, even though she got her own little people who she do a little operation with, Piper was telling how, I'll probably be out of town or something like that. He'll come and I have my mother give him a whole bunch of money. So from her just taking money and just giving it to him, that's how she just implicated. With my wife, she had some money orders in her name that she didn't know what it was for. I had her give me some money orders, and I took the money orders and I gave it to somebody, and they got caught with the money orders that had her name on it. Or did they end up knowing that the money orders came from her? So they're trying to say that she knew about it, which she totally didn't. So as I'm telling my mother, that's the first, like I said, that's the first person I called, and I tell her that they was gonna pick her up, and she like, well, first thing she says, well, I heard you snitching. And I said, huh? I'm like, how you heard that? Like, I just had this meeting. How did you hear that? I said, well, I'm telling you this, they ready to come pick you up. So she like, pick me up. So she like, why they gonna do that? I'm like, man, so I explained to her. And she said, well, you need to tell them, but they need to know. And I'm like, well, hold on. I said, hold on. I said, don't work like that. I said, but I'm just letting you know this is what's going on, da da da. Because then I called a couple of friends up and I told them what was going on. So everybody who I basically talked to said, yo, the only thing is, if you end up going to tell on the guy Johnny, with him being, Mexican and then Phoenix, it can be repercussion on my family anyway. So I got to weigh that. But they saying like, okay, so the Mexican guy Pipe tells on you, and now they want you to tell on Johnny, and he's Mexican, so making it seem like they don't care nothing about me. So I need to decide what I'm gonna do. So guys, them who I grew up with and different type individuals said to me, "Yo, do what you need to do, and we'll protect your family as long as you're in there." Because I'm looking at it like I'm still gonna get my time, but as long as my family get immunity and they ain't going to prison, I'm cool.